Hi, I think most of you know me. For those that don't, my name is Jay. This is my 61 Corvette, and I'm going to give you a brief background history on it and take you for a tour. And then I'm going to put the camera in the car, we'll go for a ride. It's a 61 Corvette. I bought the car in 1967. It was on a gas station lot, Shell station in Oceanside. It was the third or fourth Corvette I'd taken to my mechanic to look over for me. He sent me home with the others. This one, he said, was a keeper. So I paid Kenny $1,450 and drove the car home. Up to that point, I'd never driven a 4-speed. I drove it off that Shell station lot and learned to drive a clutch on the way home. Of course, I'd gone over it in my mind since probably age 11, so I had it pretty much worked out. So anyway, when I got the car, it was painted in silver. See, now it's red, and it's also partially in red lead, or black lead. I put this coat of paint on it in the early 70s, and that was the same time when I did its first engine swap. Originally, it was a 283 dual quad car with a 4-speed transmission. It also had metallic brakes on it, so I think it had the heavy-duty brake package. By 1970, 1971, that 283 engine was burning oil and had a lot of blow-by. So I decided it was time to make a change. I bought a Chevy LT1 crate motor. Great motor, 350 cubic inches, 370 horse. I put a Holley double pumper on that with a set of long tube headers, and I had side pipes on the side of the car, and the car screamed, and I was very happy with it at that point. I drove for many years like that, and eventually I lost the transmission. The transmission rebuilder, when he took it apart and looked at it, said that it was just worn out from all the miles that I put on it. Metal fatigue, lost a couple of teeth in the gears. He gave me a core value on the case, and I bought a rebuilt from him, which is in the car now. But in the process of doing that transmission change, I realized the LT1 motor was 30 years old, and I wasn't quite sure about how the seals were on that motor. Wouldn't run on unleaded pump gas, so it was detuned and it wasn't running the way it should. So I decided, since it wasn't numbers matching, the best thing I could do would just put another crate motor in. So I bought a ZZ4 fast burn 385 from Chevy, and that's what's in the car now. And that motor runs really nice on unleaded high test pump gas. At the same time that I did the ZZ4 motor, I put a Street Demon carb on the motor. That's 750 cubic inches. I put a new aluminum radiator in to take care of cooling with electric fans, and I put a 1-wire alternator on to give me enough clean power to run the fans, and also to run a Sony radio that I put in the car. The most recent set work I've done is I took the side pipes off and I put a Corvette Central aluminized exhaust system on with a pair of shorty headers. And that sounds real nice, and it runs nice and clean. I don't have a lot of fumes in the car the way I did with that old side pipe setup that I had. So with all that said, what I'm going to do is take the camera off the tripod and take you for a walk around the car and let you look at some of the features in detail. Alright, let's start with the interior. Now, the interior always gets a lot of comment. This was done in the early 70s, at the same time the LT1 motor was put in the car. This was during my disco era. All the old vinyl was cracked up and falling apart, and I didn't want to put the money into redoing the interior, so I managed to cobble this together using my own homemade skills. Alright, the passenger seat is the original Corvette seat. It's got a wrapper over it, as you see. The driver's seat is a dune buggy seat. Holds me in good and tight. Actually, it's good for performance. Okay, the old mechanical tack, which is original to the car, has been replaced with a Sun Super Tack. that's fit right in the instrument cluster. The steering wheel, when I got the car, had already been replaced. It had this English wood grain wheel that I didn't like at all. So I got this wheel. I think it's a Grant. It's nice and small. It takes a lot of muscle because the car has no power steering, no power brakes, of course no air conditioning. So it takes a lot of muscle to turn the wheel, especially a small diameter wheel like the one that's on it now. I have a mount that you see over here which allows me to connect my iPhone into the sound system of the car, which is a Sony radio, if you can see it nestled under the console. And it puts out some pretty good sound. I have a pair of speakers in the kick panels. You can see one underneath the package shelf, another on the driver's side in the kick panel, and I replaced the speaker in the dashboard with an upgraded model. Okay, now let's open the hood and see what's going on here. Alright, as I said, this is the ZZ4 Fast Burn 385 set up with shorty headers, then running into an aluminized exhaust system that's now under the car. I'm running an MSD distributor and coil and an MSD 6AL ignition box that I mounted to an aluminum ladder that runs in the passenger side fender well. Here's the PowerMaster single wire alternator. I fabricated that bracket. And you can see the electric fan setup. I've had no problems with cooling with this rig. When I went to the electronic ignition, I was lucky I was able to find this MSD tack adapter, which allowed my electronic tack, which originally was driven off the opening and closing of the points, to run off this electronic ignition system that's on it now. Okay, for those of you that remember the old thrush side pipes, they're still sitting in my garage alongside the car. Those used to exit the rocker and run along the rocker panels. When I took them off, I had large holes in the rocker panels, which I had to fill, and that I did last season. I used fiberglass from the back and then glassed it in from the front and left everything in primer. That work came out pretty good. It's holding together well. At the same time, I had a crack in this fender, ran right along here. I also glassed that in from behind and from the front and then ground it all down, and that work came out pretty good also. This old hood scoop is actually functional. If I come around to the back, you can say I opened up the hood so that air enters through the front and exits through the back and keeps the engine compartment cool and delivers fresh, cool air to the carburetor. So where do we go from here? Oh, one other mod. I relocated the battery from the old battery box, which was located below where that ignition box is located now, like down below the passenger footwell. The battery is now in the trunk, which coincidentally I did many years ago, but Chevy caught up with that idea, and all the new Corvettes, at least C7s, have the batteries in the trunk. So with that said, let me put the camera on the dashboard and I'll take you for a ride. It should be fun.